Hey everyone, Sandy here, and today is day 3 of my video every day in July challenge. I have pulled out entirely too many things, but I'm going to share them with you right now. Today is my oldest child's birthday. These are not photos from today, these are photos from last year, but I thought it would be appropriate to scrapbook them today. So I've pulled out some 6x6 papers. I'm not entirely sure where this came from. I pulled apart most of my 6x6 sheets and just don't know where they came from. I have this glitter paper. This is from one of the die cuts with the view stacks. I have this orange sheet of cardstock that I had run through my paper crimper a while ago. I have this cut apart sheet with candles on the back from Alicia Gordon for Echo Park. Piece of red cardstock. I have this great diagonal striped paper from Bella Boulevard, Family Frenzy, and it has this border sheet on the back of it. This is a green dot, also from Bella Boulevard, and it has flowers and bees on the back, but I'm definitely doing the dots. And then I have the embellishments. I've pulled out some puffy cameras, some freckled fawn hearts, a couple enamel dots that have been sitting around, some stickopotamus labels, some more freckled fawn puffies, some little random bits and bobs, this little chipboard thicker piece, a heart from Amy Tangerine's die cut pack, a compass type thing from Chamel's die cut pack, some acrylic frames, a doily, a little chipboard that says "Be Amazing." So have this, chipboard stickers, some mirror type embellishments. Not even sure where these came from. They've just been in my stash for such a long time. These are Amy Tangerine thickers. These are Chamel thickers, and these are both foam. I have the Echo Park family chipboard sheet. I'm thinking of this specifically, this arrow right here. I have some Jelly Bean Soup label stickers. Where is this? What is this? Photo Freedom from Echo Park. Birthday Wishes. And then I have the Summertime 12x12 sticker sheet. So I'm going to see what I can do with all this. I definitely pulled out a lot of things, so I have a lot of choices. And let's see how much of it actually makes it onto the page. Okay, so I started out by gutting that beautiful striped paper because I wanted to use it on another layout, and then trimming out that gray dot. That's not gray, that's green. Trimming out that green dot and layering it up on top. I also used my black distress ink around the edges, and here I just trimmed a little teeny bit of those photos of my son so I could get a nice border using those 6x6 paper pads. That is a navy, and then the polka dots are like a creamy white, and they have just an ever so slightly bit of text print on them. So I ink up these edges as well, and then I'm going to grab that great orange textured paper that I created with my paper crimper, and I'm going to block that out. I'm just figuring out if the title I had in mind will actually fit on that section of the layout, and it does. And I'm just using that tried and true method of the fingernail to mark off where I want to cut my orange paper here. And I just run my distress ink along the edges just to give it a little bit of definition. At this point I'm looking at this and thinking it's looking very Halloween-y, but then I decide I'm going to bring in this candle paper, and then hello, the Halloween is no more. And I was going to put it over the entire top of it, but for some reason in that split second I decide that I'm going to have it poke out underneath of the orange paper. So I cut off the top where you can see the candle flames, and they aren't cut off so that they're full candles, and then I just have the very bottom of the candles poking out from underneath that orange paper. So it's about this moment I realize I haven't used that gold coppery type paper yet, and I'm thinking to myself that I want to add that in just because I'm using those Chamel thickers and they are those coppery goldy letters. So I decide to use my photos at an angle and using that tried and true method of the fingernail yet again. And I go ahead and trim off that sparkle paper because of course that's great. And in that moment I'm just showing you that my trimmer decided to fly apart and I had to go pick off the blade up off the floor. So I decide to have the photos go out across the left edge. And I think that that's going to be okay because my title is also going to overlap that. And I didn't want the title overlapping 3 layers, which would have been the gold, the dot, and the photo. Instead, I'm just having it overlap the dot and the photo. So I'm picking off the moments, and I folded it down because I thought it would just pop off and I would be able to grab it easily, but the M stuck a little bit more than I thought it would. So I'm just getting it positioned just right, where the letters aren't in an awkward place, and I decide that happy's going to fit right in there. And it's not really nestled, but it's not really floating, but I'm happy. I'm happy with happy. I'm going to mess around with it a little bit because I do want it to come down just ever so slightly. And then I'm happy with the placement. Happy. So I'm happy with the placement, but I'm going to pull it up in a few minutes. And at this point, I'm thinking I like the arrow here. And that was one of the things I really wanted to make sure got on the page because I liked it so much. However, that arrow does not make it onto the final page. It ends up coming off. I put a little banner up there that says, "It's your day." It's green on green and it's not really like out there, it's kind of blending in, so I decide to go ahead and cut up a little bit more of that orange crinkled paper and I just overlap it over the layers so it sits there nicely. I bring the banner up and that little bit of orange against the edge gives it that pop, and I'm thinking I'm going to put a little bit something over there, so I use that little teeny orange piece as a placeholder so I don't forget that I want to put stuff over there. And here's where I think, oh, I should have put the doily under there. So I just pull up a couple of the letters and it's handy, I only had to pull up half of that moment's word. And then I'm using my trimmer to trim it, but I gunk it all up, so I have to grab my scissors. I just noticed my scissors match this page. Alright, so I get the placement just the way I want it. I have it ever so slightly peeking out from the bottom. I didn't just want it hanging out of the side. So I get all my thickers back on there and I put over the arrow and I'm thinking that's going to work, and nope, it does not. I really try really hard to get that chipboard piece on the page, but it doesn't happen. Neither do these mirrored pieces. I had like kind of ideas in my head of how I wanted that chipboard piece to go and how I would do the mirrored pieces, but I should have started with them, and then those ideas might have actually happened on the page. However, I went with other things first, so I'll have to use those at another time. And I'm cutting apart these acrylic frames to just give a little bit of extra pizzazz to each one of these groupings. And for this one, I decide I'm going to have part of it go under and part of it go over the orange. And I like how that turns out. And it's just like a deeper orange, getting all fancy or something. And it's just a deeper orange. So I trim off the edges there, add a little bit of adhesive to make sure it stays down. And then I had this idea that I would use this compass, and it has 4 different words on it, and one of them's travel, and that's definitely not appropriate for this page. But I had this idea that I was going to cover that up with the die cut heart. And no matter what I did, I just wasn't happy with it. And I thought I would cover up the B of the mazing and have it sit out as a banner, but honestly, I didn't like it at all. I was actually thinking it was kind of horrible. I was thinking about using that yellow sunburst frame, but there's not a whole lot of yellow. I mean, there's a little bit in the stripe and there's a little bit in the candles, but it's not like a major player. Yellow is just kind of in the background right now, and I decide to keep it that way. But I do pull out these little arrows from Jelly Bean Soup and I turn those into banners. And I decide that the little placeholder is still not big enough. It just works as a placeholder. So I cut off a little bit more of that orange paper, and then I use my distress ink to give it a little bit of definition. And then I have to run over to the other side of the room for a couple pop dots because I want those banners to be lifted off the page ever so slightly. What I'm going to do with this frame is just poke it up there out of the top. And it's more of a decorative element instead of a frame now. It's completely decorative. There's no frame at all. I'm not even sure if I looked at that if I would know it was a frame by the shape. However, definitely the orangey ones, you can look at it and looks like it's a frame. I mean, I look at that and go, oh, I cut up a frame and put it in 2 different places on my page. I'm okay with that, though. I'm okay with looking at it and knowing exactly what something is. It's better than looking at your page and going, what in the world did I just do with that? So I pull out this Make-A-Wish sticker, and I think it's going to go because I'm still kind of set on the idea of having an arrow above the title. I know that my original arrow didn't work, but I still want to have an arrow above the title. However, nope, doesn't happen whatsoever. I do like this little starburst with the heart on it, so I'm going to keep that, and I definitely like it, and it's just a matter of where I want it to end up. And I'm happy with it on the edge of that orange paper right there. And then I'm thinking to myself it would be nice to have some words right there. So I go over across my room, and that's what I'm doing right now. And I pull out these little chipboard words, and I also pull out these Tim Holtz tiny word stickers. And it takes me a minute to find something. I do find something about moments. I think I'm going to do a couple of them, so I overlap it on the top of that orange paper. But I just can't find something that's going to work with what's going on already. So I'm going to move that sucker down. And then there's a little love you that I'm going to put up at the top just so that I have those 2 tiny word stickers in 2 places on my layout. Alright, and I just get that all straightened out. And then I pull out these little puffy stickers, and that's me hitting my head on the camera. Sorry for that little mini shake there. So I go ahead and add these to the page, and I put them in all 3 of the little clusters. And originally I wasn't going to go with all orange, but the other puffy stickers that I had were kind of muted, and they didn't really go with the colors that were on the page. These colors are pretty bright. So I just pull up the sticker sheet to see if there's any little pops of color that I can add. So I add these little poofy looking flat stickers, and then I add a little bit more white to the top of the page because I have all this white in the background of the candle paper, and the doily and moments is white, but it's kind of dark up at the top. So I just overlap a little date sticker, and that's something I still have to do. I have to get that date on there. And I'm just looking over some more stickers to see if I'm missing anything, if I could add any little bits. But I'm not really finding anything on that sticker sheet, and I see a dark blue banner that I think I might be able to work in somehow. Because if you've watched any of my videos, you realize how much I love just little banners hanging down. And it's actually funny, the 2 banners that are over on the top of those photos, I specifically, while I was putting them together, I specifically thought to myself I cannot have them hanging down because I do that a lot. It's one of my new favorite things to do. So they are poking up. Still two banners, still hanging, they're just hanging upside down. So I grabbed these little enamel dots, and I only have a couple left, so I decide that I'm just going to use them all and sprinkle them around the page. And it takes me a little while to get those placed where I'm happy with them, but I eventually get it done, and then I'm looking at it and I don't have anything else that I've pulled out that can go on the page. And I'm not journaling on this page because these are not the only photos that I have of his birthday. I do grab my little Maya Road ink and I get some splatters on there. A little bit more orange just to give it a little pop. And I get a big glob right on Moments. I like the little dots, but that is a pretty big glob, but it's foam, it's going to soak in. I'm not even going to mess with it. So that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.